Hey everyone, Drew from Monkey's Tropicals Adventures here to do another fragrance review on
What smells good to me?
So what are we going to talk about? So full disclosure, the fragrance I'm going to talk about was sent to me for review. However, I am going to give you a honest review. So with that being said, let's do this. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about none other than St. James of London. So I had someone that follows me on one of my channels reach out to me and they're like, hey man, you gotta try out this fragrance. You're a big fan of tobacco fragrances. You're going to love it. So I got to talking with St. James of London, and they were generous enough to send me not only the fragrance, but they also sent me a shave cream, which I did a shave video, which you can see on my YouTube channel. So the fragrance is really nice, very gentlemanly, very classic type fragrance. It's very different. It's a departure from the typical tobaccos that I use, which are typically more of like a pipe tobacco or a darker, more dank tobacco. So I'm gonna just kind of run down some of the notes in this fragrance. So you've got tobacco flower, aged tobacco flower, tonka bean, cocoa, frankincense, raspberry, precious woods, and subtle undertones of soft suede. So what's also very different about this fragrance, so here it is in a 50 ml, is there is no alcohol in it. So that's a very different, because usually fragrances, they use alcohol as a carrier, they use fragrance alcohol. So it's very different in how the fragrance is applied to your skin as far as how it dries down and what it does, because it did something very different on my skin that I was not anticipating. So when I first sprayed it, which I'm just going to spray some right now, I've been wearing it for the last 3 days, really trying it out to give it a full run. Okay, so when I first spray it, I get very green, like a very green tobacco, floral notes, very crisp, almost soapy. So very, very different than my typical tobaccos. So it wasn't my super favorite. But here's what happened. So like I said, I get the green, the soapy, the green tobacco notes. The tonka is very noticeable, and I got some of the soft suede, which was funny because I didn't read all the notes, and then I put it on and I was like, all right, what am I smelling here? I'm like, man, I smell like some suede, and then I'm looking, I was like, okay, you guys win. I smell the suede. It's in there for sure. So I'm wearing it, and like an hour or so goes by, and I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying the dry down. At about like the 3-hour mark, I was kind of doing this. I wasn't doing the robot or anything or karate chopping. I was just kind of seeing like what's going on with this fragrance, and I was like, man, this smells really good. I was like, oh yeah, I've got the tonka and tobacco flower on. It morphed, so it changed into almost like a darker, more aged, darker tobacco that I really enjoyed, and the tonka became more prominent, and I was like, here's where I really like this fragrance. This is where I love this fragrance, is in its dry down. And there are a lot of fragrances like that where you might not like it in its initial spray and application, and then it morphs and turns into this like gorgeous fragrance. There's some fragrances that morph and change into like 3 or 4 different fragrances over their time period. So how much time longevity did I get out of this fragrance? I would say about 7 hours max. But what's funny is, so I was looking in there and there's raspberry in there. So this morning I put it on at probably like 05:30, and I was in my office, and like around like 8 o'clock or something like that, I was like, why am I smelling raspberries? So I put raspberries in my Greek yogurt, but I don't have any raspberries right now, and I wasn't eating any Greek yogurt, and I was like, So the raspberries, that was the first time those notes actually came out. This is the third time I've been wearing it, and so the first 2 times I really didn't get the raspberry notes. but I got them this morning on this application, on this wearing. So I definitely noticed them this time, and that's kind of interesting because sometimes fragrances you do, it's kind of like a movie, right? Where you're like, oh, I didn't catch that first time. So I didn't catch it that first time. I didn't catch the raspberry notes, but I caught them today. Like I said, in the dry down, the tobacco becomes more of an age, a little bit darker, a little bit warmer. The Tonka becomes very, very prominent. That suede is definitely noticeable, but it still takes a back seat. The cocoa, I definitely noticed too. That kind of, I noticed through the beginning to the end. It was still very, very noticeable, kind of like, kind of earthy. Not, when people think of cocoa, you think of like sweet, like chocolate, right? Well, actual cocoa is different. If you actually smell like raw cocoa powder, if you put it in like your shakes like I do or whatever, it's kind of like a dry, kind of earthy type. There's sweetness to it, but it's a little bit more dry. And then those woody notes were definitely prominent too. So overall, this fragrance, in the beginning, it was not my favorite. In the end, I absolutely loved it. Okay, so that's my honest opinion on it. Like I said, more green, soapy, bright tobacco in the beginning. Got more dark aged. The Tonka came out. Some of those raspberry came out. That suede was prominent. And it just truly, really morphed into this really beautiful fragrance. Very gentlemanly, very classic type fragrance. Again, I don't see this as a fragrance that some 20-year-old's gonna be rocking. 30 plus, in my opinion. Where would you wear this? Date night, special occasion. It is light enough that you can wear it year round, which is kind of nice because it opens up, like I said, kind of like bright and soapy and green. So it'll be great for like spring or summer. But I could also see this popping in the colder months. And I say as it like warms and it morphs, you know, it'd probably be even better like in those colder nights. So overall, I really enjoyed this fragrance. They've got a lot of really great fragrances. And in this fragrance, they also make a shave cream, which I have. They do, which is a travel tube. They do a jar. They do a post-shave gel. And they do the cologne. And they've got a whole bunch of other fragrances. They've got lavender and geranium, black pepper and lime, sandalwood and bergamot, mandarin and patchouli, and cedarwood and clary sage. Lots of good stuff. I will list all this below. Make sure you follow them on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Monkey's Tropicals Adventures. Please like and subscribe and follow me on this channel. Hit that bell so you can get notification when I drop a new video. And that's gonna be it, folks. Make sure you go watch my shaving video on their shave cream. It's really nice. Great performer, and that tube is great for travel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again for another shave or something. Take care.